Okay, so here we go. We got a new lowering kit for the 99 roadking twin cam, and I put a little bit of footage on the old one that was bad. They were good enough to take it back, so it's in the mail. I went ahead and ordered the correct kit. Now this is the kit I got here. This is quite a big difference. This is the new kit I received, and came in a nice box, VMS. I opened the kit up, and I got a little instruction sheet here, which again, no graphics. I you know, throw a little quick drawing in there, would been kind of nice. But anyhow, here's what I get. I got a little disclaimer in here, and let's see, they gave me a little pamphlet of products they make, VMS, and which I think is kind of cool. And even threw a little VMS decal in there. Kind of cool. Shows a little bit of pride in it. VMS Racing. And then this is the kit. Now, these are the new brackets. Now, the difference in these brackets, if you look on these, on this particular Road King, I don't have the eccentrics on the axle bolts. I have the adjustments in the back, like old school bike. Now, these here will actually go in here and go right in there. And that will be, you know, that will go right in place. I'll take the nut off, and these will go in place. And so we're going to go ahead and put these on, and I'll show you what they look like when we get them on there. But this should be a lot smoother installation. I do believe I'm still going to have to modify the bags. Once again, the modification is, I'll show you over here, that's basically to take this, because you have this here, where your shock actually mounts, it's going to be kicking the shock back a little. So what I've seen as far as the modification goes, you take a heat gun and you heat it all up in here, and then you just, you know, which I have a heat gun, then you just push it back till you get your clearance. Because what basically is going to happen is you're going to be moving that shock back, and you'll end up getting some interference here. So I'll go ahead and heat this all up. Now, these are some bags I got a while back that aren't in that great a shape. They're not warped like my old ones, but they do have stitching damage and some scuffs on them. They're nice because they're smooth and they're not warped like the ones I had, and I got a real good price on them. So, you know, it's not, I'm not that big on the thing. So I have no problem, you know, modifying my bags and see how the bike looks and rides. Now, I rode it like it is. I raised my bars a little bit. I don't really care for it. It seems like, you know, I kind of wanted to get a little bit more of that ape, mini ape thing to it. I'm not too sure I like it. Yeah, funny, but it seems to make the front steering a little heavier. So I may or may not lower those down. Plan to take a ride tomorrow. So I'm going to at least put the lowering kit on it. I think I'm going to actually drop it 2 inches. Because I have an option on the bracket, if you can see here, to drop it 2 in the hardware that it came with. Hold on. And this is exactly what the kit came with. You got your longer shock bolts. Now this kit actually did come with some spacers for the top shock, shorter bolts for where the bracket goes. Still have the long stovers, or these are actually nylock nuts. And this one came with a couple lock washers. I'm not sure what for, because I'll use most of the old hardware. But the brackets are like major different. They got the hole where you put your adjustment bolt. And that is the one thing that I did not have. And also, even once the bolt's in, as you can see, I'll still have plenty of room to get the nylock nut on it, because my adjustment bolt will be clear down here. Now, the other bracket I got dropped real sharp right here. You couldn't even get into the front hole, because it was right behind the adjustment screw. Completely different type of bracket. This bracket I really like. Nice clean weld here. It's actually, you can see it was butt fit into the back there. So been nice. I don't know, couldn't really put one on the inside. I don't, and but I'm sure the one tack's fine with it actually going into the bracket like this. So not that much stress on it anyhow. But anyhow, that's what we got, and that's what we're working with. And so here's where we're at on it. This bracket goes in here like that. What I've done is I've taken the adjustment bolt off the back. Now, from the factory, you have this here, Now if you look at this, it has 2 detents in it. See it? It's actually, here, I'll show it. See it? And they actually kind of center it in there like this, see? Okay, well, I tried to put this on the back of it like this, but with that in there, but it's a little too far to get the bolt in. So it's actually designed to take this off, which I'll keep because I don't like this whole setup. And now I can put it in, and that's how it'll sit in there, see? And then I have of course I'm going to put Loctite and stuff on this, but I have this fastener right here, see? And then this will hold it. Then I'll go ahead and put my nut back on the back, you know, for the belt tension. And then these here will be, I guess this would be 1 inch, and this would be 2 inches. So basically you can see where the shock used to mount here. And what it does is it's going to kick it back, and then it's going to kick it back a little further, and that's going to squat everything down. So that's your deal in the back there. You can't use this piece. You know, I thought because of these notches I would want to, but I don't really think it's necessary. I mean, it's not going to be like it centers anything. Nothing's going to float with this in there and it bolted up. So I'm going to run it this way and we'll see how it works. You know, like I said, this is complete experimentation, but that's what your bracket's going to look like. That is your correct bracket. I think it's going to work good. You know, like I said, I got to modify my bag, but we'll see how much it lowers it, if it lowers it too much or... So anyhow, here we go. I just wanted to point that out. And then again, you know, the spacer in the top. Okay, now here's basically what it's going to look like complete. Now on the back, as you can see here, I've put the nut right here back on. See it? It's your adjustment nut. Free swing arm. Now here, what I've done, now it didn't come with this washer here, but I put this washer in. Okay, because I want to add a little more beef to this. So I put a flat washer back here, and I went ahead with the flat washer here. It says use all the hardware, but I didn't put the lock back in the front because you've got a nylock in the back. You don't need a lock here, and I've got just enough protrusion on my nylock nut to where it's set. So when you come out and you look at the whole situation, that's pretty much what it's going to look like down there. That's the proper installation. And then of course I have my spacer up here. It was provided in the kit, and that basically is going to, oh, sorry about that, that's basically going to kick this shock out to compensate for the distance I kicked out down here where I used to mount. So that's what we're looking at, guys. And I don't know, I went 2 inches, so okay, so now this is where I've got to modify it. I don't know if you can see it. Right about here. The bag will not fit. So I've already done the other side, and it's on there. But it does take some modifying. You are going to have to modify it. So, but I lowered it, and then here's a look for you. I still got some suspension, so pretty happy so far. Okay, now these are the tools I'm using for this. I've got a 4-pound sledge, and I just use the end of it almost like a maul, and I've got just my cheapo heat gun, and I'm just gonna fire up my heat gun and just start heating it up. Now I'll show you what this looks like when I'm done with it. This is kind of what it looks like when you do it. And what I did actually here on this, let me slide this back here so you can see it. What I actually did here is, you have this hard seam here. So what I did was I actually, once I heated it, I used this and kind of rolled it up to kind of change it flat. And then I hit it with the water real quick to cool it so it would stay that way. Now this is where you have the problem, because you really have this big thing here you're trying to get rid of. So it really kind of comes down, and you just kind of got to really work it and get it flat. You know, you can see I just used my hammer, pushing it with it hot, cooling it down, and I got it to stay here. Now I'll go ahead and test fit it and see if that's enough. I don't want to overdo it. See, basically here's what I'm looking at. I'm trying to get this back here the same here. So it doesn't look pretty, but you can't see it, so it really doesn't matter. So let's go ahead and see if it fits. Now if you look down in there, real hard for you to see, but you can see down there where I've modified it. And if you bring the bag in, it clears. So just moving that back like that, I got it to clear, and you can see here the bags mount right up. And it doesn't hit the shock. And that's about wraps that up. Road King Classic 99, lowered 2 inches. And I got some suspension, so looks good. When I rode it already without the bags on, and it seems to ride nice, so the actual test will be to see if it's too low when I start taking curves, because I like to dig in them, so I may have to be a little mellow, but it didn't seem to affect the handling whatsoever. But we'll find out when we get it on some roads. Thanks for watching.